Thank you for attending the March edition of A Conversation with Joe Caruso. Please welcome your host, Joe Caruso.
Hi, it's good to see. It's good to see you, Ian. You're one of my favorite people. I just love the way you're so comfortable in your skin. Not too many people are. They're always trying to figure out who they are to find out who they present. So there's a person and a persona. But you've never had that. And I've only talked to you a few times, but it's been over several years. You don't have that. You're a person, not a persona. I love that part. And I always wonder how someone can be honest if they don't know what they're being honest from. From what core are you being honest about? How do you do that?
Well, certainly it's a long time in the making. I was far from kind of feeling comfortable for a long time.
How old are you? Just for
51.
51. Okay.
No, and it's been like you, it's been a journey. Like you, I've been through some health issues, and I think that's really helped form a lot of my identity. I think that's been really critical. And I've been.
Are you comfortable? I will share my health issues. I was diagnosed as dead at 18 with testicular cancer, and it wasn't curable. And I'm one of the first cured. You want to share yours, or you don't have to?
Sure. Yeah. No, I had a couple of things happen. Out of nowhere, I had a form of encephalitis where I had a grand mal seizure. I had a flu that my body just couldn't fight off properly, and it turned into a form of encephalitis. And I was in a drug-induced coma for 8 days, and really my brain didn't work for almost a year. It was an unbelievably challenging time. And
how old were you?
I was 33. They had pronounced me pretty much dead as well. Told my wife, even if makes it out of this, he's going to be a vegetable. And then when they saw there was some activity, they said, well, may not be a vegetable, but he's going to have to learn how to walk, talk, read, and write all again. And he won't be leaving he won't be leaving the hospital for 6 months to a year. I walked out there 3 days later. So it was a very big struggle.
Skiing a week ago, if I remember right.
I'm sorry?
You went skiing a week ago.
Oh, I also had a kidney transplant 3.5 years ago. So I've been through a lot. And, I think to answer your question directly, Joe, I just feel it takes a lot to bother me, anything. And I view every day as a bonus day. And I'm just happy to be here.
Now you asked me about this question I ask my clients every time I talk to a client once a week about how is your mind today? What was that question you asked me about that? I can't remember right now.
I said, how do most people answer that question? It's a different kind of question.
It is a different kind of question. Can I tell you why I came up with this?
Please.
Okay. Everything in the world that happens or that you understand or that you process is based on how your mind defines it. So if you understand your mind, it's very important. So I have a client who's a semi-pro golfer. Actually better than that, but he's very good. But he knows his mind is, what's the old joke? Golf, 90% of the game. I can't remember the joke. Something about the mind. 50% is 90% of the mind or something. But I saw a Disney movie, and the Disney movie was on golf. So that's why I watched it, because of my client. I don't play the game. Do you play?
I do.
Okay.
Not well, but
it was what's called a dog leg, which I guess is like a blind turn to the right. And there's sometimes trees right before it. And the guy was playing his opponent's mind, saying, shoot over the trees. Now, if you shoot over the trees, you gain like a stroke. And if you miss, it can get really ugly. Trees are ugly. And I said, there are some days, physically, hand-eye coordination, whatever. This is embarrassing. I'm probably being a batter. But the point is that a person as physical as he is understands there are days his hand-eye coordination, his physicality, he can take that shot. It's going to work. Does that make sense to your mind as someone who plays the game?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to establish the context when I talk to my clients that the mind is always processing feelings, emotions, thoughts, ideas, past, identity, possibility, considerations. Some days it's better than others. Some days it's back and deep to places it shouldn't go, or maybe should, but only under the right perspective. Some days it can go forward and be positive and say, ooh, feeling really good today. Now, you've been in some of the deepest, darkest human experiences, and I have too, that most people will ever get to in their life. I say we're born alone, we die alone, with the middle part, denial of those two facts, longing to make a connection. Biologically, physically, neurologically, we have to make a connection so we understand that when one neuron or a group of neurons connect with another group of neurons, you remember your mother's name. That's a connection. And that's how we know ourselves. Now, you're wildly successful in business at 51 years old. So how is your mind today?
Positive, sharp, feels good. Ready to attack every challenge.
How do you know? What are the indicators?
Listen, I think when I'm staying active and, one of the things I've done every day, when the pandemic started, I just started blocking out my calendar every day from 12 to 1:30 and having lunch and taking a walk with my wife, which allows us to have connection time every single day. Plus I'm walking an hour, I'm working out every day. So that's making me feel better for sure. And I'm very blessed to love what I do. Probably would like to do a little bit less of it right now if I, perfect world, but the opportunities are calling and I just, if I'm being honest with myself, I really enjoy it. So I continue to do everything I'm doing with work, but I've got a strict no asshole policy. So I don't want to work with.
I didn't learn that until about 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, I'm very strict on that. To me, probably more important than anything else is liking who you work with. It's just as important as liking the deal itself. And I love the people who work with me. I love what I do. And it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like something I identify with and I do, and I really enjoy it.
When you go to bed, you think about waking up tomorrow, looking forward to the day.
Yeah. Yes. I think probably the most important is I think I'm one of the people that's unbelievably fortunate to be able to do every day, the things that I'm the best at. Right.
How long did it take you to learn what you're best at?
49 years.
What are you best at?
No, I think, listen, I think I'm really good. Well, but for me, being the best does not necessarily mean the best, but I'd say the best for me is
your best.
My best is definitely relationships. I'm always, my wife actually said this to me, like as we had our first big exit and first time I actually turned an idea into actual money that was life-changing. And she asked me why I thought I was successful. And I said, relationships. And she said, that's not the reason. And I said, well, what do you think it is? And she said, well, I think it's...
Thank God for wives. They're just...
Well, she actually was very enlightening. So I loved her answer, which was, you're always willing to bring in people who make you better. You're always willing to take a smaller piece of the bigger pie, and you partner with others. And so, I fully acknowledge I'm rarely, if ever, the smartest guy in the room, right? I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I'm, you can always count on me. You can always trust me. You can always know that I'm going to do what's right for everyone. And I will every time bring in a partner who can help make, or an employee or somebody that can help make the organization better. And if it costs me out of my own pocket, I feel that I have foresight and wisdom to say, okay, yeah, I may own less of the business, but this business is going to be a hell of a lot more successful because I brought this person on.
I know, in full disclosure to the people that are listening, I know many people that know you. They would agree with that assessment quite clearly. Why does it take 49 years to figure this out?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I probably knew I had a semblance of it. Probably when I started getting into my 40s. But listen, some people are much luckier and wiser and get to know that sooner. I think life gets in the way. I think there's legitimate challenges and obstacles. I think everybody would say a lot of millennials, for example, want to be the CEO day one, right? When I wanted to be doing what I'm best at when I was 25 years old, for sure, but nobody was going to let me do that, right? So, I think the people that I surround myself with in my companies get that and understand that hard work gets you, once you earn my trust and respect, sky's the limit. And so, and if anything, I definitely, try to take care of my people better than probably I was taking care of some of the steps along the way. Maybe that's some of the things I've learned. But I think it was all, I don't have any, I had some major challenges, right? I had some things I didn't like for work. I had some health issues. I lost my dad right before I got sick when I was 33. So nothing, no one's got a perfect life and a good path, right?
But a tragic death, didn't he? How did he die?
He had cancer. He died at age 60.
Yeah.
So it was a devastating. He was my best man at my wedding, unbelievably close. That was a devastating loss, but we actually continue his legacy in a free clinic that we run in his name. So I get to work with him every day. Listen, my dad said something to me that I have such a vivid memory of this conversation. When he told me he was sick, first thing he said to me, very calm, was not emotional. He just said, this diagnosis is, he knew it was stage 4. And he said, listen, does it suck that I'm leaving this world early? Absolutely. Why not meet your kids? That's a shame for me. He said, but, I've had a great life. I've far exceeded everything I've ever wanted in my career, a wife that I've loved and adored my whole, marriage, and 2 great kids. So what more could I want? I don't have any regrets. So right after that, I joined YEO, and we went through this exercise called a blueprint. And from that experience, one of my kind of mantras was, no regrets. And so I try to, even the terrible things that I experienced, I try to say that those are experiences that help shape me and who I am today.
Wonderful story. I want to ask about trust. I'm about to speak to the Navy on integrity and trust. What does trust mean to you?
Everything. Going back to that exercise, that blueprint thing, one of the first things I kind of read, I think I was maybe early 30s, maybe even 31, 32 when I joined YEO. I would say, one of the things that I realized is, my word is, and my reputation are my bond, right? So you could spend your whole career building it up and you could kill it in an instant, right? One bad decision, an unethical decision, one untrustworthy thing that you've done to have people not have faith in you anymore. I would say, people who've been around me in my organization, who I trust, there's nothing I wouldn't do for, right? And they make my life better. I'm able to go do what I want to do at a moment's notice because I know they got it. So trust is everything.
How do you give that trust? Many people would be thinking, if I give that trust to people, they'll take advantage of me.
And maybe there's issues that can be remedied or addressed. So by the time someone comes around, okay, well, this is what happens. Here's how we addressed it. Now it's being fixed.
Luna,
etc.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Listen, I think it comes over time, and I think if someone violates it, that ends the handshake contract, right? So, for example, we had a contractor that I've used for 15, 16 years now. And time again, he just never disappoints. He's the hardest working guy. I trust him with my life. He's so honest.
Big state.
And I would never, if he puts a proposal to build a building for me or to improve a building, I don't question a single line of him.
And you read
every
line.
Yeah, no, I will never hire anyone else. I mean, he's done 50 plus projects for me, and he's just a wonderful guy. And I just have full faith and confidence. I completely trust a guy like that.
Now, for people like you and me who've had our lives right in front of our face and said, you're not going to live, self-induced coma or an induced coma for you, for me, cancer. There are people that we know, mutual friends, who are wealthy, who have children, who know they're going to be rich the rest of their life. How do you teach values?
It's a great question. Luckily, my kids are young enough. They're 16 and 14, so they don't really have any appreciation. I mean, they see what's around them. They're not idiots, but they
that's
get a
got to be in your mind all the time, man.
Right. Well, listen, they don't know. And I actually have it in my mind that I want to start teaching my kids about it as soon as I think they're ready. And I think my son is getting there. So I'm involved in
the older one, right, Ian?
Yeah. My son is 16. Yeah. And so we talk. So I'm in this Tiger 21, and there's kind of 4 prongs to it. And the second one, which we don't have a meeting where we don't discuss about wealth transfer, estate planning, and how to handle issues with your kids. We have people that have kids that are all the way in their 40s, and we have people that have kids that are newborns. Right. So a lot of lessons learned. I actually hired through this Tiger 21. I met this financial services firm.
Can you tell people that might be listening what Tiger 21 is?
Tiger 21 is it's a group for kind of high net worth individuals, and it's similar to like a YPO. We meet once a month for 6 hours. There's a national conference. It's a little different in the sense of YPO that you can actually visit other groups without any problem. We sign NDAs. We actually share financials and write an extensive paper about ourselves. That every single meeting we share one of them, and it's a very intense process, and we share deeply. And a lot of it is how do we deal with our kids. And so some of the things that I've learned is, I had a totally different childhood than my kids in almost every way, right? I think everybody is now, a lot of it because of technology.
And there's the wealthiest society in the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, my dad, I was 15, I went to private school. My dad maybe petitioned the school to go get a job, and I was the only one that had a car. I paid him for my car. I bought his car off him. But he always made me work.
What kind
of
car? It
was
what kind of car? Everybody remembers the first car.
It was a gold LeBaron convertible.
There you go.
$4,000. So bus tables, sold shoes, went to the fruit market. I did it all. So, but now it's different, especially even with COVID. I mean, the kids getting a job is a very challenging thing. And, my son plays a couple of varsity sports. He was on the ski team and the crew team. And he goes to school. He literally leaves the house at 7:45. He gets home at 7:15 at night. He's got 3 hours of homework. So the idea of a job is not a fair request of him. And so it's a challenge. So I learned through this firm that I work with, they gave us some good tools on how to teach the kids value of money, how to have them earn, whether it's chores, whether it's joining additional organizations, playing a varsity, there's a way for at least, at a younger age, give them access to their bank account so they can see what they have, make them submit reimbursement forms so they understand, if there's something they're spending, what it means to, have money and spend money and earn money. In a perfect world, I'd love them working some of the worst jobs known to man, just so they can appreciate, what it means to earn a dollar. But, for now, this is going to have to do. But talk a lot. I mean, like we did a couple of things I think that really helped with our kids. They were bar and bar mitzvah, and we had them. They both agreed without any hesitation. Instead of, usually there's a tremendous amount of obnoxious gifts that are given at an event like that. They wrote letters that went out in their invitation saying, I'm incredibly fortunate. Other people are not. Instead of a gift, would you please make a donation to my grandfather's clinic? And they each raised over $30,000 for their bar and bar mitzvahs. They got almost no gifts. They got a handful of gifts. So that was
that's fantastic.
Yeah, and so and then part of it too, just each holiday season we give the kids identity. We set up a family foundation, and the kids we identify which charities we want to give to together.
Now, you've funded a lot of things in your life because that's what I love. This word ilk. People of your ilk do. You get to a certain level in success, in entrepreneurial success. I'm writing a book about this right now. Then you give, and you get when you give. That's the thing most people don't get. The Beatles wrote about it. In the end, the love you make is equal to the love you take. And you do a great job at that. If someone is a entrepreneur that's watching this, a great phrase I've heard recently from Sean Thomas, actually. And they want to find somebody that can fund what they do. How would they approach somebody like you to even get you to listen to them? Because, oh my God, everybody's a genius and has the latest and greatest. What's the thing that would compel you?
It's a great question. We've done, obviously, you're right. We've done some of that. Listen, I think character is first and foremost. Show that they're there for the deal, and they're gonna work it till work their fingers to the bone to make sure that this thing goes right. Have a good model, a good plan. But most important, I want to know that they're all in, right? So, I want to know that this is incredibly important to them, and they're willing to make some significant sacrifices. We funded, there's a couple of young guys, now I think they're in their mid-30s, who had an idea of going into Detroit and remodeling all these old apartment buildings. So there was me and four other guys from our Tiger group who we ended up funding.
What year was this?
3 years ago. Okay. And these guys, I mean, one of the guys, for example, went to Harvard undergrad and went to Kellogg, Northwestern for business school.
Cool.
And he was willing to live downtown in a little studio apartment, 350 square foot studio apartment. And he was okay making $35,000, $40,000 a year, if that. And because he had a vision, he had a goal and what he wanted to accomplish. And it's hard not to believe in a guy like that. And luckily it's first 3 projects have all finished ahead of schedule, ahead of budget. All are refinancing, getting back all our money, and we gave them better than market terms because we wanted to do something where they could actually have some more money to live off of. And it's turned out to be a great relationship. They'll be forever grateful to us. We're grateful to them for their performance. That's a true success story right there.
True American success story. I think that we only have a few minutes for questions, so I got to turn it over to the voice of God, our producer, Mike Pachita, to see if he. This has been, by the way, I could go for another hour with you. You're a blast. Really interesting. So, Mike, do you want to take it?
I am here, and I'm asking anybody if they have any questions, please enter them in chat. Currently, we do not have any questions.
Okay. If you get one, let me know.
I will.
Okay. And Ian, what? I don't know if I'm still on. Ian, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
I can.
What are you looking forward to in the next 10 years?
So, looking forward to my kids no longer being teenagers. That's definitely important.
I heard a couple things there, man. All right, go ahead.
My wife and I have been together since we were kids. I mean, we've been together for over 31 years now. Yeah. And we still like and love each other, which is great. More important than we like is big accomplishment these days. And, I'm looking forward to, knock wood, enjoying some of the golden years, doing some incredible travel. And we just bought a lake house this past summer that was far exceeded all of our expectations, and just filling it, once COVID's behind us, filling it with friends constantly.
Wonderful. Can't wait. I'd love to see it.
I look forward to never spending a winter in Michigan again.
I know. I've been nuts this year. Everyone's a little COVID crazy. They don't understand it, but you can't hug each other. You can't shake hands. You don't know how to greet. It's very against the entire mind, this COVID thing. And it takes 9 months to gestate a child, to have it go from a sperm and an egg all the way to a human being. This has been over a year. Yeah. This is definitely affecting our minds. And if we don't understand that it's affecting our minds, then we don't understand what's happening. So we have to understand that this is something we have to get past, but it's not something we'll put it in our past, but it's going to be a part of our past. You can't outsmart COVID. You could just be smart about it. Like when you went to your house, your cottage.
I'll tell you. So Joe, I'll tell you one thing. What's that?
I talked to you right when you went up there.
No, I would. One thing I just want to share with you too. But you're right about all the COVID. That's been awful. But one thing, a quote, something I listened to a podcast the other day that someone sent me. I don't know if you ever heard Dr. Edith Eger. She's a Holocaust survivor. She's incredible. Somebody who never complains, and has just an incredible outlook on life. Somebody better than almost one of the best speakers I've ever heard. She said, Edith Eger, Eger. She's in her 80s, and she was a kid, obviously, in the Holocaust, the last remaining Holocaust survivors. And she said something, she doesn't hate, and she almost feels bad for people who have hatred. And her philosophy is incredible. But she said something that really jumped. I think you would appreciate it. Said, if you still have something to prove, you're still a prisoner.
If you hold a bird with a string, which one of you is in prison? You both are. You're both holding the string. Exactly right. This has been one of the most fun conversations on the show I've had, and I really appreciate it. You're a good man. Thank you.
I appreciate having me. You're a great man as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for joining us today for our conversation with Joe Caruso. Our upcoming episodes include Fran Biederman Gross on Wednesday, March 31st, Barbara Bolt on Tuesday, April 20th, and Daniel Marcos on Wednesday, April 28th. Have a great day, and thank you for joining us today.